Everybody's there that's meant to be there. I'll say good evening to everybody and welcome to the Ordinary and Parish Council meeting at Chapel Frith. Just to remind people that this meeting will be recorded. It's being filmed so that there can be repeated viewing and we can write the minutes from it. So if anybody does not wish to see themselves or be seen, please turn the video off, and can they mute their microphone if they are not speaking. Also, that discussions and anything that we talk about is the individual's choice until we actually make a vote on whatever the final discussion and decision is. With that, I will hand over, because I can see he's there, I'll hand over to Colin, Reverend Colin, and see if he would take us through the prayers part, please.
Thank you very, very much, Chair. Just to say, good people, I won't be staying in the meeting after the prayers because I've got another meeting that starts at 7:30. So I will be leaving you immediately after the prayers, if that's okay. And Chair, with your permission, there is something I'd just like to say very briefly after the prayers, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, so I'll say some prayers first. Thank you. So, Father, we thank you for this gathering here tonight, for those who are members of this council, for the members of the public who may be present too. We pray particularly for our communities, for all that we know is happening within them. And as we think about the past 12 months and all that we've shared and been through together, both here and right around this nation, we do continue to pray for hope, and the hope of the vaccines and how they appear to be working, the hope of how people are adhering to all the restrictions, and that we will emerge from this as the spring breaks, like a light dawning. We will find light coming back into our lives once again by your mighty power. So we do pray, Lord, for all that the conversations will happen tonight, for the agenda items, for those who will be speaking, that you will empower and equip them to say what is on their minds, and for each person to respect the other as that happens. So bless this council. Thank you for all those who give up their time and their gifts and their talents to serve in this way. Thank you, Jesus, and it's in your name we pray. Amen. Thank you for just giving me this few minutes just to say what I would like to say. It was announced in church on Sunday, last Sunday, that I'll actually be leaving this parish around about mid-May. I've been offered and accepted a post in Manchester Diocese. I'm actually from Manchester originally, and a Man City supporter for what it's worth. So I'm going back to where almost where I grew up. It's a full-time area dean post. So it's not a parish post, it's to help implement the strategic vision of Manchester Diocese in their thoughts and planning for the future. That begins on the 6th of June. As I say, I'll be leaving this parish on or about the mid-May-ish. And because the next meeting, I think if my diary is correct, is the first Tuesday in April, is that right?
Yeah.
Which will be, I think, just straight after Easter. I think this would be my final attendance at this council meeting. And I know I didn't make my apologies last time, and I'm really sorry about that because I should have done. It wasn't with anything to do with what I've just announced. It was an error of my judgment. So I'm really, really sorry that I didn't do that. And I've been your parish priest for the past 6 years, and I have absolutely loved every minute of being in this community, of being in this place, in the beauty of our surroundings. And I'm going back to urban and city life. Boy, will that be a transition. For the people of St. Thomas Becket, I hold them in my prayers and for the future of the church in this town. and what may emerge from the work that they do and together. So may I thank you. I know my participation here has only been very brief at times, and Kerry was your chaplain before me, and I'll regret not being a part of this, but I have valued the time that we've shared together, and I want to thank each and every one of you for the time that we've shared in all our different forms. So thank you. I'll be around for the next month or so, well, a couple of months probably. So yeah, Chair, thank you very, very much for allowing me to share that information. So this will be my final meeting, if that's okay with everybody.
Just before you run away then, Colin, can I wish you all the best in your new venture in Manchester, going back to your roots. I do remember coming to your inauguration when you first came here, and when you were showing your Manchester City shirts off in the Beckett room, much to some people's disgust. And everything. So it will be sorry to see you. I thank you very much for the Christmas tree lightings and the carnivals and the things that we've done over the last 6 years. And good luck for the future. And obviously we will hear who your successor is as and when they have chosen, and we will speak to the rightful person at the right time.
Thank you very, very much, Stuart. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'll see you soon, I'm sure, but I'll let you consider carry on with your meeting. Thanks ever so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you,
Bye.
Colin. All
Bye.
the best, mate.
Bye.
Bye. Right. Well, that was a blow. Well, that's another new start in May for people. Right. We'll start on the agenda then. Have we any declarations of interest from anybody? I can see Chris has got his hand up. I presume it's going to be your standard one, is it, Chris? If you want to take
one. My wife is a substitute member of the High Peak Planning Committee, and also as a adjoining landowner to the Lays.
Thank you. Any other declarations of interest? No. Have we any dispensations, Sue? Has Sue disappeared?
Sorry, so I didn't unmute myself. Yeah, there are just 2 standing dispensations to Councillor Sizeland.
Thank you for that. Have we any police here for, because I can't get everybody on my screen, have we any police here? Because I don't think they can do Zoom. We know we had the police meeting the other day. Have we any police here, or have we anything to say? I would just like to ask a question, because it came up at the meeting and I just suddenly realised that we had the police meeting, which had to be a Teams one because they're not allowed to do Zoom. And we do have Paddy here on the meeting tonight, and he did join the police meeting the other day. And it's a case of, we did actually have representatives at one point from the parish council upon the police liaison group. Now, this seems to have, I would say, fallen by the wayside over the last 6 months or so. And I would like if we could actually contact and find out if we could get a report, seeing as they cannot come to the Zoom meetings, besides getting a police report, whether we could actually get a report from our representatives at this point. And with that, I think that's something we can write and ask about, isn't it, Sue?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah. With that, actually, we've got Jason's hand up. Jason, would you like to say?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I found the meeting with the police really, really interesting, and it left me with a lot of food for thought. But during the meeting, if you remember, they did say they would send us some posters to put out around the town and some information that we could put up on a website. That material is obviously not arrived as yet. I wondered if it was worth giving them a nudge.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, if we can put that to the police, then please, Sue, in that respect, of giving them a nudge. And also, as Paddy will have heard that, if we can sort this new, go into a new regime in the new year and getting some reports back of what's happening with the Safer Neighbourhood team and the people on the ground, because I know they have been doing how can we say, speed checks and different things. And I think we should be able to report back here, whether it's actually a verbal or whether it's a written one, so we know where we're at. So I think we should be able to deal with that. I can see a certain person nodding. So with that, is there anything anybody else wants us to bring up, the five of us with the police at this moment in time? I can't see any hands up anywhere. Nigel's just disappeared off screen at the moment. Oh dear. Right, well, with that, we'll go into the open forum. Now, the thing with the open forum, I was just going to make a point before we start with it, because we've got 4 people who wish to speak today at the open forum. But I'd like to say that there is such a lot at the moment, which is in social media and on websites and different places, that we do have to consider the council's reputation, because everybody has seen what's happened over in Handforth and that. And we do have our standing orders and our policies that we work to. So if you don't actually get the full answer whilst we're on a Zoom meeting, we will apologise for that, but it will be forthcoming when we decide how to actually deal with it in the future part of the meeting. So I just wanted to remind people that people are able to see all this, and think about your own reputation as well when you're saying things. So with that, Sue, am I to go through, have I got the 4 in the same order here tonight as you'd sent me? That we've got.
Yeah, sorry, I've sent you the list of the people who've actually contacted me direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, I can see a face there as a councillor, ex-councillor, should I say, Hilary Batterby, but she comes up as, I think it's Ashley Reed on the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My computer's
sorry.
gone wrong. I've got a borrowed computer.
Don't worry about that. I know the face, and I just thought that doesn't look like that. So if you'd like to, what are we speaking on, Hilary? Are we on about Sparrow Pit?
We're on about Sparrow Pit, yes, correct.
Right, well, if I'll grab hold of my watch, and if you'd like to have your 3 minutes and say your piece, please.
Right, so at February's Parish Council meeting, a motion that was passed by the council trust release was then sent to the books and advertised, repeating those unfounded allegations. A letter sending out the true facts by the trust was sent to that meeting, but was completely ignored, even by Councillor Adstead, who's the ward councillor for Sparrow Pit, since it's part of Chapel East Ward, as many people don't seem to realise. Chapel Parish Council has no role to oversee the charity, in fact, no role at all, except to appoint 2 representatives who are in place, have access to information and participate in meetings. The charity's land has been legitimately let to local farmers since 1960. A further letter from the trust intended to set the record straight has been sent to the council recently, but it's been blocked and is not included as an item of correspondence for this meeting as requested. So is it right that councillors can make incorrect assertions and withhold a right of reply, and in so doing mislead the public who only hear one side of the story? This latest letter was written by Mary Williamson, a member of Sparrow Pit Trust for over 50 years. She was presented with the Parish Council's Community Award for volunteering work and fundraising in the parish in 2015, as well as being a member of many voluntary and service organisations. She's not someone who would misrepresent or condone wrongdoing. She is, however, very concerned that 4 councillors with little experience and making no attempt to acquaint themselves with the truth should make such efforts to bring into disrepute a small charity run by dedicated volunteers. And you may wonder why Councillor Gourlay wastes so much time on this charity that actually has twice as many members overseeing its activities than does this parish council. Let me enlighten you. Some time ago, as a parish councillor, I spoke in defence of a fellow councillor who had been sent a disgraceful string of WhatsApp messages by another councillor who's now one of the 5 remaining parish councillors. Those messages were highly personal and derogatory. Then I became the next target, the next person to be silenced or punished. Since then, I've been subjected to what I consider to be harassment at an unacceptable level. It seems that anything I'm involved with is fair game for scrutiny, and the trust of which I'm secretary is unfortunately a very easy target. This has now escalated suggestions that my family is involved in wrongdoing, allegations that are utterly and completely untrue. This is not only affecting me, but also people who spent a lifetime working for this community. This council is worse than Handforth. It's not open and transparent and does not tolerate anyone who dares to speak out. And to quote Jackie Weaver, the behaviour sometimes falls below the standard that we would hope for, and it undermines the countless others who do sterling work for the communities for no reward. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you for that, Hilary. What I can say, just to clarify part of that, I have taken some advice with the clerk, and the letter that came in from Mary Williamson will receive a reply, because it is only right and truthful that the council replied to her, because a lot of the things she asked were questions that she wishes clarifying, and for purposes, it'll be the clerk that will obviously reply to her with the proper answers. So she will receive a reply. The reason it wasn't added to the agenda tonight was the clerk doesn't work Fridays. He only came in on Friday, and we didn't have time because we need, through our standing orders and rules policies, to have a clear week to put it on the agenda. If there is any problems with the replies or anything, she has every right to get it onto next month's agenda, and somebody else or yourself again could come and speak at the open forum next month in reply to the replies if you wish, if that is of help to you at this moment in time as such. So I'm not going to enter into discussions, because I do feel that this is taking up a lot of the parish's time, that, as you have just said in your speech, it shouldn't be for the parish to deal with, and we are here to do better things than just do a lot of backbiting. So with that, I'll thank you for that, Hilary. We will reply, and then we'll see where we go from there. Now then, moving on, we have David Beeston, and I believe you wish to speak about startup premises in Chapel-on-the-Frith.
Yeah, yes, Chairman, it's David Belton. Thank you very much.
Belton, sorry, me reading my scribble. I apologise there.
No problem. My apologies, this question may not be addressed to the right forum. It might be that it's High Peak Borough Council or Derbyshire or even the public sector. I have a friend in the parish who's developing a small business, currently running it from home, making great strides, wishes to expand that business. So between us, we've been looking to see what sort of help we can get to do that, in particular in terms of some small premises. And I'm struggling to find, whether through our website or indeed, to High Peaks, anywhere that can point us towards some small startup premises. It's obviously, it's a very personal question rather than, if you like, a parish question, but I'd like to think there are other people confronted with these sorts of issues, trying to find in the area that they live some small premises. I just wondered if that, as I say, if that's something that any of the council's body or resources addresses or can address, or whether indeed you want to signpost me to somewhere more appropriate. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you very much for that. It isn't something that the parish council normally has dealings with as such, with small businesses. The borough council is more to the point of where it should be, because they used to have meetings every so often, and there is a newsletter and everything. I think the easiest way is probably as I am a borough councillor as well, I'll have words with Sue and we will signpost you, if you like, into the right direction of who you need to speak to on that one, because they used to have business meetings at the golf club. They used to meet up and have breakfast or coffee mornings to try and move these things forward. Now, I do happen to know that obviously COVID has sort of kicked that a little bit. They can't meet up the same, but the people are still in the same position in the offices. So if we signpost you to the right people, might be a start to help you.
That would be very helpful for my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you for your question. And yes, we can send you some information. We can reply to you on that one. Right. Next on my list, I have Alistair Beswick, wherever he may be on the screens. I've got to go on the others, and I believe he wishes to speak about the neighbourhood plan. Let me just find Alistair. Is he there somewhere?
I am. Hi.
Ah, he's over there. Right. Well, Alistair, you have three minutes as well, sir.
Thank you. Hopefully I won't need them. It's a pretty straightforward question. I've been looking at the neighbourhood development plan. I actually couldn't find it. Thankfully, Councillor Gourlay was kind enough to point me in the right direction on the High Peak Borough website. It's a big document. There's 50 pages of it. Obviously, it's designed to well, it's designed to push the development of the town in a certain direction. And I can see that there's been a lot of work done on getting the opinions of parishioners and local businesses for that. But what I'd like to know is, how is it actually being used practically, and how are the parish council working towards that? Because from the meetings that I've watched, and from all of the sort of the minutes from those meetings, I've not really heard it mentioned very much. It does say in the actual document that there's a link to it. There's a website for Chapel Parish Council on the document, and it says it's there, but it's actually not on the Parish Council website. So what I'd like to know is how do the council actually make sure that they're adhering to this neighbourhood development plan? And I'd also like to know, are we actually on plan, and are there any sort of deviations from it or additions that weren't considered when it first came out?
Do you want me to answer that? Or
I was going to say, have you finished it, that, Alistair?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I'll ask Sue to answer that one. The one I can just say before Sue speaks while I'm speaking is the one that's to do with planning and everything does come up at the planning meetings that I sit upon, and that is why the planning meetings I don't go to here, so that I don't vote twice. It's legal as such, but the council, being the borough council, always take the advice or the representations from the parish council into account when we're looking at plans and everything that come under neighbourhood plan areas, because they do carry more weight. So with that, I'll hand over to Sue to answer the rest.
okay, just to say, there is a copy on the parish council website. I'm just sort of trying to find it. I think it's there under your parish council, and the full copy is there. It's obviously a planning development document, so generally it's the planning committee who will refer to it when they're looking at planning applications. It has been used twice at 2 public inquiries. The first one was for 200 houses to be developed off Long Lane, off Bankhall Drive. And there was a public inquiry for that. The council had their own, the parish council had their own barrister and were party to that public inquiry, and the planning application was subsequently refused. And then it was tested again for 6 houses at Tunstead Milton at another public inquiry, and that planning application was refused as well. So it stood the test of those 2 challenges. And that's about it, really.
Great. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
And as for saying whether or not it's on plan as such, I can tell you that the neighbourhood plans and the local plans are due for review any time, and the government want more things coming into it about green open spaces and green belt as well as greenfield, because people don't understand the difference between the clarifications. So that we will have to actually be looking at updating our neighbourhood plan shortly anyway. That will come into the normal run of the mill of working out of things. So you might have chance to have some input into the revised one as it comes along in the future.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Young.
Right, thank you for your time, Alistair, on that one. The next one I've got is, and I've just gone onto my other screen. Yes, he's there. Hugh Barton, you've asked to speak now. What is your subject, please, Hugh?
Thank you, Stuart. I've got 3 items I want to cover in my time, so I'll need to be quick. One of them concerns the neighbourhood plan.
Right. Well, I'll give you your 3 minutes and let's see how far you get.
All right.
If you'd like to start.
Yeah. So in the February meeting, I asked for a softer approach to precept increases, and today I'd like to restate the question that was partly answered, but then contradicted by the press statement the following day. Regarding the breakdown of this £58,000 play equipment budget. I've listened to neighbours and the general feeling that it does matter whether the monies are going to be spent on equipment or legal fees. The precept statement dated 3rd of February states to spend more money on play equipment, and at least £60,000 of additional funding will go to updating our parks and locality. So please could councillors clarify which of these it's going to be. My second item, I'd like to ask for greater transparency over the spending of Section 106 money in this parish. I'm thinking of the 25k from Federal Mogul Development, 45k from Octavia Gardens, any from the White Huff Dormer site, and so on. Is it true that Section 106 money from the Long Lane site is being withheld? And if so, is the Parish Council doing anything to secure it? Final point I'd like to make is regarding the neighbourhood plan. I didn't realise it was going to be mentioned tonight, so apologies if there's any repetition, but thousands of hours of volunteer time went into this planning legislation. Yet, apart from the 2 examples Sue gave, which are very worthy, this parish hasn't really addressed many of the initiatives, the softer initiatives, the well-being initiatives, development of employment opportunities that David mentioned earlier, and all of those policies that were arrived at via extensive consultation. 98% acceptance at referendum. Surely we should be doing something with it. Now, please consider the neighbourhood plan, we were told, expires in 2028, or from what Stuart said, maybe sooner. So I propose that we need to start thinking soon about what will replace it. I suggest that of all of the options available to us, doing nothing and letting High Peak Borough Council ride roughshod over us, as they would have done last time, would lead to the least favourable outcome for this parish. So I think we should start to begin a discussion about whether and how we wish to move forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that, Hugh. Well, as I say, I haven't got the exact dates to that, but I do know that that is forthcoming, and it will be before 2028 as far as that goes, because of what the government has stated. And yes, we'll have to work to that. What I would say with some of your questions about the precept breakdown and the S106 money, I think the easiest way is probably to write back to you with some of the answers, because it's very difficult to actually break it down, some of it at the moment, because we've had other questions which will probably come up later about breakdowns of it, and some of the things, when you're talking of solicitors' fees, etc., are actually, how can I say, it's their charging to us, and it's something that shouldn't be disclosed without their say-so, and things like that, what their charges are per hour, and that it would just come up on the year-end figures as a whole amount. As for the 106 money, I do know that it's with the Borough Council, and yes, we are chasing it, but that's part of it, chasing it. That is what we have to do. And I know there are previous councillors who are not with us anymore, and some that are with us in body, but can't believe it that it's never come through to us. It isn't just an automatic rite of passage with money. So we will try and put some of it together to give you some answers there. I think Sue and I can probably sort some of that out and reply to you.
Thank you. On the question,
is there
if I
anything
may,
you wish to say? Sorry, Hugh.
But if I may, because if what you said is correct, then it's the press release of the 3rd of February that's incorrect, because that's misleading to suggest that the monies will be spent on the play equipment when you've just said, and was previously said, that may not be the case for reasons beyond your control as a council.
Well, we didn't put the press release out.
You generated it and circulated it in the meeting, and it was approved the next morning.
Shall I come in? Yes, you, the five of you,
sorry,
agreed to make a statement. You've got 2 councillors with hands up as well, Chairman, on this
I
issue.
was just going to say, because we don't enter into lots of discussion, but as I was just going to say, we will reply to the majority of that as best we can. I can see I've got Jason's hand up, and I say, I'm sorry, Mr. Belton, you won't be able to speak at this point in the proceedings. I'm sorry about that. Let's see what the 2 councillors have to say. Councillor had said Jason first.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to come back to a point that Mr. Barton mentioned about £25,000 being withheld. Is that something that Sue could answer quickly, please?
Yeah, so from the federal mogul development, all this money comes via High Peak Borough Council, but from the federal mogul development, the parish council did get £25,000, and that was used to put new play equipment in at Needham Recreation Ground. We've had also £45,000 from the Octavia Gardens development, which was the Barrett development on Manchester Road. And that was used to put the second part of the children's play equipment in the Memorial Park. There was Section 106 money from Whiteheath, but that went to Chinley, and they've got a new play park there. I think it was thought that children living on that development would probably go to Chinley rather than Chapel. So the outstanding ones, as far as I'm aware, are the 106 houses on Long Lane and the houses at 129 Manchester Road around the castle. And then there's a development in Defoles as well. So they are, that money has not been made available to the parish council yet. And the borough council hasn't entered into any discussion about it.
Thank you, Sue.
Nigel, you've got your hand up as well.
Yes. So in terms of the breakdown of money between legal fees and play equipment, I argued 2 weeks ago in an email to you, Chair, that we do have enough information now to state a rough figure of how much we intend to spend on legal fees. Now, what I wanted was to state that publicly, but we've got the agenda through and we're going to exclude the public from that discussion. I think at least we could do is, before we exclude the public, is have a brief discussion of some sort of ballpark figure, which we have in mind.
I'm just looking at the agenda for tonight. Oh, you're on about the last thing that's on the agenda. Right. Well, I like to say, I have taken some advice in the respect of we shouldn't actually be giving the figures out for the solicitors and things like that, because that's what do they call it? Sue, there was a word, wasn't there, that it's material. It could be they wouldn't, what the legal people would have to say whether they wanted the figure coming out or not that they're, because all we've got is an hourly rate, but we haven't got a, you're meaning like a ballpark figure overall, are you, Councillor Gourlay?
Yeah, as we discussed this afternoon.
Right. Oh, well, I haven't got any figures here with me. I'll say that's a bit late in the day this afternoon to, like I say, yeah, to, how many figures have you got with you, Sue, at home for this?
Sorry,
Anything?
on mute. I'm sorry, I don't have anything here at all.
No, I'll say,
All right, sorry,
as we go through,
sorry,
as we go through the agenda, I'll give that some thought how we're going to actually explain that. Hugh, you have got your hand up. I'll give you a chance just to come back because, of course, you've got some of the answers there. How many more answers do you want? Yes. Do you want to unmute yourself and just reply? I'll give you the right to reply.
Thank you, Stuart. I just wanted to try and make things easier. Thank you to Councillor Gourlay for attempting to bridge the gap there and provide the breakdown. If that information isn't possible to communicate, that's fine as well, as long as we make it clear in press releases and our general position on, your general position on increasing the precept is for either of those things, or don't specify it, but it's misleading to suggest it's for play equipment. So I think given that's going to be the main reason why the precept is going to go skyward in the next month, when people see it, I think that's the minimum. So fully accept if you can't give the figures, and let's relax on that. But if that is the case, please at least be straight about where the money's going and don't claim it's all for play equipment. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you for that clarification also. I think what I'd like to do actually on that one, because I'll just take it out of order, because we have got amenities meetings planned and coming up, and we do have the one agenda meeting next Tuesday night for an update on the multi-use games area, and that I think what I would like to do, I think, would probably say we'll discuss what we've got to discuss at the meeting next week, and then bring it fully back as a report back to the next council meeting, which is obviously the first Tuesday in April, if that's all right with I can see Hugh nodding there, and then we can probably put some how can I say, but meat on the bones, as you might say, to that, to actually answer it for everybody. Jason, you've put your hand up again.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think it's important to touch upon that we have got this one item meeting coming up very, very shortly, the 9th, I believe, and more will become apparent on the 9th.
That was what was just going through my mind, and that's why I was going to say you've got your planning meeting first next Tuesday on the 9th, followed by this one agenda meeting to discuss it. So rather than actually we'll probably finalise it in as we would say under number 21, but because we've got the meeting next week, I think it's probably easier to deal with it at the meeting, and then there'll be minutes from that meeting and people will be there and we can report it back properly. I think that's probably the easiest way to deal with it under the circumstances. So if all the councillors, I'm just got to flip screens. Nigel's got his hand up again, or has he gone down now? Are you all, because you're on the other screen, are all the councillors happy with that we discuss it next Tuesday night at the one agenda meeting and then make a report back? Yeah, and I can't see any thumbs down or anything like that. So are you all right with that as chair of amenities, Jason, for next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, obviously there's an invitation there to Hugh to join the meeting, and more will become apparent after that meeting.
So with that, I think that brings us to the end of the open forum. I'm just checking there's nobody else hiding anywhere that wants to suddenly put their hands up. So I'll thank the 4 speakers for that tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much.
And I'll sort out with Sue for replies to those and whom. And obviously now it's been said that we've got an amenities meeting after the town hall after the planning meeting on Tuesday. People now know, and obviously it will go out on the website, so you'll be able to join that, Hugh, and you and yourself, Mr. Belton, and then you'll hear some more about that. So with that, I will move on back onto the agenda now and follow on through. If we could just have a show of hands to say that you're happy with receiving the minutes of the full council meeting last time. If everybody's happy with that as such. And right, that's Stella. And I'll just move screens. Where's Nigel gone now? Where's he gone? He's there, right. Right. Thank you for that. The minutes of the planning committee, obviously, that would be yourself, Chris. Are you happy with those minutes? And then we'll go through them. The minutes of the amenities, which you should have received today, because obviously we only had those on Friday afternoon. I think all I've got to say on the amenities, Sue, is somewhere when I looked at it, there's a spelling mistake on about, I think it's about the third page. I think it should say made, and I think it says mad or something as simple as that. And it's probably right for how the meeting was, but it probably should have an E on it for made. I'll check that out with you
Okay.
on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you found that or seen that?
Yeah.
And then also, and then the community footpaths working party, which also they held on Friday, which was Chris's that he sent through. So what we'll do is we'll go through each of these to see if there's any matters arising from them. So have I got everybody on the page? Right page, you can see everybody now. Right. So you have the minutes of the full council meeting on the 2nd of February in front of you. Is there anything people wish to bring up on page 1? No. On page 2, I don't think so, because that was all the minutes. There was lots of minutes last time, wasn't there? Page 3. Page 4. Obviously, we will come to loss of earnings later on in the agenda because we have an update sheet on that. And then page 5. Nope, no hands have appeared up. So page 6 on the back page. Obviously, we haven't had a communications committee yet to work out a virtual script, but obviously you will hear that I did say part of it at the beginning. So, and there was no business discussed after everybody left. So that's that one. Thank you very much. Now, if I can hand over to yourself as such, Chris, if anybody's got anything, because you chaired the planning meeting.
Yeah, there's only one thing. Apologies for absence include Jason. I think he came in after a few minutes, didn't you, Jason?
I did. I got there. I did eventually turn up, Chris. However, I think you was finishing as I got there.
All right.
Well, I'm going to say, if you took no part in any of the discussions, it's probably easier to leave it like that, unless you wanted it putting down as late. Jason, that's your choice.
I think you were in for the last one where I left the meeting. Or the next to last one, Jason. Yeah. To make us quorum.
I think I was actually, yeah. I beg your pardon, yeah. Sorry, I was.
So it should say that Councillor had joined partway through the meeting.
Can that be changed, please, Sue, on that one? That it wasn't his apologies, he arrived late, and wherever it was that he arrived, which I'm taking, it's in between HPK 2021 007 and the 210023, I'm assuming.
And other than that, there's nothing real. There's nothing really.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Moving on then to the amenities meeting, which you might have managed to all read through as such. Jason, over to you on this one.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, another incredibly long amenities committee meeting on Friday, partly to do with the amount that we're actually trying to achieve and trying to get through. There are a couple of changes that I need to be made on the minutes, please, Chair, Sue, if you don't mind. One of them was that it was actually Stuart, sorry, the motion from Councillor Stuart proposed and Councillor Walters seconded the motion for the lawnmower, which is, sorry, 21315. Sorry about this, Stuart. I'm working from my phone as well as me.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just finding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did propose that, and Councillor Walters seconded it. So
yeah,
that's one bit. Yeah.
21317. It was a correspondence from the HPBC, not the DCC. It was from the High Peterborough Council, from the High Peterborough Councillor.
Yeah.
And there was one other. The stone, sorry, on 21/314. It's actually, I think it's called Derbyshire stone rather than gritstone.
Yeah.
But other than that, these minutes, the minutes that Emma's produced are fantastic.
And I think if anybody reads through those, and if we manage to get all of these things done, they'll be very pleased. I did just want to say, from the point, while we're at this point, everybody should have received an email from Emma today, ready for later on. Did you want to bring up that we have now done the groundwork? I don't know, that sounds funny, groundwork with it being amenities on the lawnmower, Jason, and just do an update on that one while we're here.
I will get to that one, Chair, but Councillor Sizen, Chris has got his hand up. He's had his hand up for a while.
Oh, sorry, I hadn't spot. I'm busy reading. Sorry, Chris.
Very, very fast one. Solar light minute 21/305. The £250, as well as replacing the light, it was also probably replacing the timer as well. The £250 was intended to cover both the light and the timer. It just needs to replace the bulb and the timer. Basically, it just needs to be added on. It's nothing ordinary there, but to be strictly accurate.
Yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah, I see where you are, Chris, on that one. Yeah, it was agreed to spend £250 repairing the light, replacing the bulb. Yeah, well, repairing the light does mean the solar would be the timer, but yeah, you're meaning replacing the bulb, stroke light, stroke timer. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Right, back to you, Jason. Then, yeah.
Okay, so thank you. So during the meeting, we Councillor Young put forward a motion that we would actually spend some of the parish funds on a new mower, and our park manager Phil has been away looking at such purchases, and he has come up with one at just under £10,000, a Ransoms Highway. For those in the know, I believe that to be a highly recommended manufacturer of park mowers.
Yep.
We've got the details. It's had one owner since new. I look forward to seeing the effect it has on the parks locally.
Mhm.
Well, can I just say for you, Jason, because obviously I've done some of the dealing with the park manager on this one. The one we were obviously first looking at last Friday was only a 2012 one, which had got best part of 2,000 hours on it, not 770. Our mower has got 2,500 on, with this only having 770 hours in 5 years as such. It's basically only done 3 hours a week, so it should last us a good long while. They will do obviously all the rest of it, the servicing and whatever for the delivery. So I think we've got a very good deal there out of this one as such. So I'm pleased that we've got there with that. And I was just going to say, to deal with this, what the park manager has said, because we were on about going for a grant application for something, we are still going to need the tipping trailer and the tractor, and he saw some decent tractors while he was there as well. He thinks we could probably, when we have another amenities meeting, put the grant application in for another piece of machinery, because we still need other stuff as well. So that hasn't taken a back seat and been thrown away. We will just put it to something else. So if that's helpful for you, and that only obviously happened this morning while I was talking to him in the park. So that was an update for you.
Fabulous, thank you, Chair.
So if everybody's happy with that, those are accepted, and we've got those alterations. So we move on to the other set of minutes, which are the footpath working group, and that's back to Councillor Sarson, to Chris. You'd like to demute yourself so we can hear you, Chris?
Sorry, I'm jumping through there. Again, it's basically, it's just, we're generally moving onwards. We've done some signposting, we're chasing things through, and it's just generally moving things on, you know, trying to get there basically. You know, it's just general progress and just keep moving basically.
Right, well, thank you for that, because obviously you don't need to leave the meeting for this part, because it was in the minutes from the amenities meeting and everything as well. And I know there are two things that are being followed up with other people, which is obviously the tramway trail, the wall, and the upgrading or repairing of that down there, and then this walkway round Coombe Reservoir, which we're looking into. So hopefully we will be able to come back to the public shortly and say that we've got somewhere with these and things are improving, as we're doing a lot of work trying to get them improved. So with that, if everybody's happy on that, they can be accepted. Right, we've no hands up anywhere on that. Brilliant. So we'll move on to number 10 on the agenda, which is the town hall losses and the grants. As you will see, you've had a sheet sent to you. The things that were in red last time, obviously, we're a month on. They've now turned black. So we're at 14,500 almost at the moment. And it doesn't look like we're going to go any further by the end of March with the dates that have been given. So I think the red will be as is. And I have made the suggestion to the clerk that when we get to March, because obviously that's like the municipal year end as such, we will start another sheet with this one all put at the top as where we are with our amounts lost and received, and start again as of March with a new sheet for you, because we don't know how long it's going to go on, and we don't know if we'll get any more money out of the Borough Council or through from the government. So that's just to keep you informed that we will carry it on so that we know where we stand. Jason, you've put your hand up. Demute yourself, mate.
Thank you, Chair. To yourself and Sue again, could you just refresh my memory? The second grant, does that take us to the end of the financial year? And if we're still in under the same restrictions going into the next financial year, will there be a third grant available, do you think?
I'm not sure whether there will or not. So yeah, I can't tell you.
Right, okay.
My views of it are that there probably wouldn't be, because as of whatever date it is, you're allowed to go back. There might be a small amount, but as of, I think it's the 7th of May, which is after the elections, you've got to go back, which you've got a piece, which is the next one coming up here. You've got to go back to face-to-face meetings, not just Zoom meetings and team meetings. So if they're expecting you to go back to sort of those sort of meetings, they'll be expecting the hirers to come back in. But obviously that is in the lap of the government at the moment. So yeah, how long's a bit of string or a piece of elastic on that one, Jason? It's watch this space in a way. I'm hoping if it does, they do carry on, that we would get something. Yeah,
Right.
we certainly would ask. So Stella, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just to say that the budget tomorrow is going to announce about grants and that. And from what I gather, there will be small grants to come for the ones that are still in lockdown. And 7th of May is a long way off, so I should imagine might be able to get another grant. Because I know the hospitality can.
I'd keep my fingers crossed on that one, that we probably, hopefully we can. And obviously if there is, we will try. We'll listen to tomorrow. Because that moves us, if everybody's, because that's just really an update, if everybody's happy with that and we carry on the way we are, well, we can't do any other but keep informing you each month. We'll move on to number 11, which is the preparation for the possible return to in-person meetings, which obviously you've received the legal briefing as such. Now, I do know, because I've had a couple of meetings with DALC and council-wise in the respect of the local government authority are sort of pressing to see if we can keep some Zoom meetings, because they're ideal probably for smaller little meetings as such, but like the AGMs and that, they should be face to face. So they're actually asking whether or not we might end up with a hybrid of this. So really it's just for clarity to let you know how we would have to work. And the main one from our point of view, which from when Sue and I spoke as such, because we've already moved our May meeting from the first Tuesday of May to the second Tuesday of May, which takes you after the election, which also takes you after the date of the 7th of May, would mean we'd have to have a meeting. And we were looking at that we could manage to place seating 2 meters apart and hold it in the main hall rather than the annex. We could actually do a risk assessment and sort that out. We just have to be working out how many public we could get in, and or whether we do like Boris and his mates do on TV, whether you had a big telescreen where the public can come in on that, because even when we get to there, not everybody will have had the jabs, and some of the older people still probably wouldn't want to attend a meeting as such because they feel uneasy. So we'll just have to see how it goes between now and May and see what we can do. But we have got something at least to try and work to. Jason, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I've really enjoyed the Zoom council meetings. And I think there are lots of members of the parish have enjoyed being able to attend them too. Not everybody who's more in the latter stages of life would like to traipse down to the town hall on a Tuesday night. So will we be able to still at least commit to some Zoom meetings?
Well, that's what the government, obviously, part of it might come out in the budget tomorrow, you know, because there might be something that says that they will help pay for TV screens and cameras so that we can actually do Zoom meetings. You know, it might be a way forward. We don't know yet. This is the hybrid that they're talking about, and this is the first piece of paper that we've had that explains anything to us. So once again, it's a moving feast. It's as it happens. And we'll let you know, obviously, as soon as we get anything. But it is a possibility, we're hoping. Jason, again?
Yeah, thank you. Could I ask Nigel what his thoughts are on the hybrid? Is it something that's easily achievable?
Yeah, I think it is. I think all we need is a TV screen, broadband, and a mobile phone.
No. So we can still keep people involved?
Yeah, I would very much regret it if we ever went back to physical meetings where we weren't streaming them in some way. I think many of the other councillors feel the same, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the hybrid will probably be the way forward as such, what will come out of this. And I believe there's a paper going to the government because of everything that happened at Anforth to actually say this, that there should be more of these meetings this way.
Good.
So we'll keep you up to date, Jason.
Thank you.
Right. No other hands up on that one. We'll move on to number 12, which is a motion from Stella from Council Waters.
Yeah.
Would you like to say your piece, please,
Yeah.
Stella?
Basically, when we have the council meetings or the committee meetings, I like the amenities and that, we go away and we've suggested things and said things and there's no action plan. And I'm thinking like Jason did after the amenities, although I put this before the amenities, that he gave, at the end of the meeting, we went through what needed to be done. And on the minutes, it tells us what needs to be done. So by the time we come to the next meeting, we know exactly what's been done and who should do it and things like that, just to save time, because you can have 3 meetings before anything's done. And I just feel as if we have like an action plan like Jason and Emma worked on, it would work better and we'd get things done a lot quicker.
Well, the simple one is to, I can see Nigel's got his hand up, but I'm just going to ask Sue first. Would this be a problem or whatever? Is it something that could be facilitated through the office?
Yeah, so basically the action plan, Emma and I drew it up with Phil for the amenities because we were aware there was just so much happening. So that is sort of a separate plan that Phil is working to. So it's really whether you just want the actions noting in the minutes or you want it as a separate document that you keep reviewing.
Just at the end of the minutes, like I say, I mean, at the last amenities, Jace had this, I've noted 4 things that I'm going to try and achieve before the next amenities meeting, but they're on the, you know, they're what Jason and Emma and yourself have come up with that needed doing. I just think it would make more sense to have an action plan at the end of the meeting and it go in the minutes.
That's fine, yeah.
Thank you.
I've got 2 hands up, so we'll go to Nigel first and then come to you, Chris. Nigel?
Yeah. So it's 25 to 9, so it's been going a little over an hour and we've made no decisions so far. I mean, so sometimes it is nice to talk and just you know, it allows people to say what's on their mind, but you know, a lot of these meetings that we attend, it's just 1 or 2 people dominating the conversation, no decisions getting made, and then we turn up the next meeting and it's a rerun of what that person has said all over again. I think if we, now that we've got draft minutes going out soon after meetings, I think it would be illuminating for people to see how few decisions get made in these meetings and how little work there is to follow up on, especially on full council meetings. So yeah, I would agree completely with having action points in draft minutes.
Right, well, I can say, obviously we had 4 speakers in the public forum tonight, and there was actions that we got to reply to them. So there is something there to be done. But anyway, Chris, you've got your hand up.
I think it's an absolutely superb idea to have some sort of action. I'd like, you know, that we get for each, that we have the sort of the action plan sent each month, and then we can just view it as part of the as one item and get stuff bottom, get it done, so we can move on to the next thing, get some good stuff done, basically.
Yeah, well, I was going to say with Jason, the way he'd done the amenities, we did make a lot of decisions on Friday, and a lot obviously have come through today. So yeah, Jason, do you want to add to this, seeing as you set off with that one of your amenities?
No. What I would say is the minutes that Emma's produced with Sue for the amenities meeting on Friday, I think they're fabulous. I support Councillor Walter's motion. Yeah.
Right. I think those are brilliant on Friday as well. And like I say, we should have some from this, hopefully. From tonight, there will be some odd actions. So if everybody's happy with that, I don't think I need to put that to a vote. We'll just get on and sort that out, Stella, if you're happy with that, and if everybody's happy with that.
Yeah, and then if there's certain points that people have to do, if it's put in the end of the minutes, so that we know if it's not done, they can explain why, or vice versa. If it's done, say how it went on.
Right. Are you all right with that, Sue?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you, Sue.
Right. Suddenly I've got one in the middle here. Number 13, sanitation problems in bypass lay-bys.
That's mine, sir.
I think.
Yeah.
Could that be yours? Is that Sue's or Nigel's? Where are we at with that one?
That's me.
Yeah.
Right,
And me.
over to you then, Nigel.
So I went to one weekend and Stella's been twice to the lay-bys on the bypass, and the amount of human excrement that is on those lay-bys is extraordinary, and it is surely made worse because the borough council has removed litter bins from that. So truck drivers pull up, they poo into bags, and they throw them out the window. Now, can we please write to the Borough Council and ask them to return the litter bins?
Right, that's what you're asking. Stella, you've got your hand up, and then...
Yeah, can I just say, I went and I got 28 bags of rubbish in 2 weekends, and I actually stored in 2 lots of human.
Charming. Not what you want to do any weekend.
When you're cleaning up, you know, I don't mind going collecting litter picking, as Jason does, Nigel does, Chris, we all do the litter picking, and I don't mind doing it. But when there could be a lot less with a bin being there, it would just make life easy for the litter pickers that do that.
Well, as your borough councillor here as well, I will say I do remember them removing them, and they said it actually cut down on the litter by moving them. So whether they weren't emptying them often enough, I don't know. But Chris, you've got your hand up.
I'm sorry, I don't think I put it down from before, but I agree 110% with Nigel and Stella. Those bins need bringing back tomorrow.
Well, what I thought you were going to actually say that meeting that we'd had last week as well, where we'd asked about bins and different bits and cleaning up, that we had mentioned it to the borough council people. So I think it's probably a case of reiterating it in a formal letter. Jason, you've put your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. There's a couple of things I want to touch upon here, really. Actually, one of them is that I do understand where Nigel's coming from in terms of we need to have some bins there, but I worry that whether it's just a general bin, you don't really want bags of human waste being thrown into the trash as such. Maybe you could get a special bin that's for that product, and it's able to be disposed of accordingly. I'm sure Nigel will come back on that. The second one is that there's somewhere around about 50 bags of rubbish been collected from that single lay-by. Now, the Borough Council has a policy of cleaning the bypass twice a year. Once at the end of March or the beginning of April, and once in July when they cut the verges again, because that's the free one. It might be worth them spreading those visits and keeping on top of these lay-bys, because we've basically got in the region of 10 or 11 months worth of waste in there, and that can only be a public hygiene disaster.
Nigel, you've got your hand up. Do you want to come back?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It is a sanitation problem, having what is in effect an open latrine just outside town. I think we should write to the Borough Council and ask for bins there. If they have a special bin that they can use for human waste, fair enough. But I refuse to believe that having bins there would make the litter problem worse.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing is, that was why what it was sold to us at in the past, and that's where we stood at it. But what I can say is, because time has moved on over the years, we do have this new company out now, AES, that deals with it. There might be different rules, and they probably could look at the regime, Jason, on that. So I think the first point of is to write to them about looking at the regime, looking about the bins, because it was mentioned the other day about the size of the bins as well. So I think that's the first point, and write to the borough and see what reply we get. Jason, you've put your hand up again.
Sorry, Stella's got her hand up, please, Chair.
Oh, I sorry, I was going to come to Stella then. Yes, Stella.
Yeah. Also, there's the bypass I did. There's a public footpath there, so maybe you can say that to the council as well if they're going to complain. There's a public footpath there, and people do use it, but it was very hard. I didn't even know there was a footpath there because it was just covered in rubbish. So it's another reason to have a bin there.
Yeah, well, if you remember from the meeting the other day, it was a mention, myself and Joanna, she's on the meeting somewhere, we did mention about doing from the borough, take your rubbish home with you, was part of it, like it used to be years ago. So I think there needs to be some education as well on this.
But also, Chair, just a quick one. We moved one, but there's 6 more wagon tyres there. There was a gas fire, a CLLR gas fire there. There was a fridge there. So it's not just, normal rubbish. The wagon driver, and I hate to say it, I mean, I've got friends that are wagon drivers and they're not all the same, but there's a lot of stuff from wagons there.
Well, what I would suggest is from this then, yes, we do write to the borough. Yes, it will probably get passed on to AES about the regime of how often. Yes, we can ask about more bins, but I think because you say those tyres, I think we should notify them and tell them to come out and have a specific clean up, that clean team, and just come and have a rec and do them ones. I'm looking for hands.
Councillor Cass Island, I've been in touch, and she's hopefully getting it all moved. But I mean, there was 4 last time I went, there was 6 this time, so we're still
right. Jason, you've still got your hand up. Have you got something else?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, and Chris has got his hand up after me as well, actually. But so I want to go back to the Borough Council's picking regime on the bypass. Now, I understand that finances are not infinite, and they have to choose when and how they do the bypass accordingly. But I wouldn't ask them to do the whole bypass more than twice a year. But they could do the lay-bys. They could actually, specifically target the lay-bys, and that's and rather than the Borough Council, I think it's an environmental health issue.
Yeah, I think we should write to them. I fully agree that we should be saying something. Chris, you've got your hand up.
Well, this is a polite request to yourself, Stuart. If you be both a parish councillor and a High Peak councillor, and it being the parish council that's highlighting this, if you were able to take ownership of this problem and sort of keep and follow it up, I think we'd all be grateful.
The simple answer to that is a yes, but we would still need to write, and then because then I've got something to follow up.
Right, to keep on and keep following it up, please.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, so we've got some actions on that one to deal with, Sue. We'll move on to number 14 then. This is back to Nigel, another motion.
Yeah, this is money that we budgeted in January for setting up a portion of the website where historic minutes could be displayed. We got a quote which has gone around to councillors and I just need agreement from the council to do it.
Can I just say something before we fully agree on this, Nigel? Because I've got a question to ask you
I'm
about
sure you will.
it. No, I'm not saying I don't agree. I'm asking a question about it because we have been putting our minutes on for the last 5 years or whatever anyway. Is the part of the programme with this Graphica Limited that historically, if a set of minutes got to being 5 years old, they would automatically be able to be transferred over rather than waiting for you to get round to catch up 2,000 years worth of writing them or whatever, you know what I mean? So that like the minutes from tonight's meeting in 5 years' time would automatically go on to the archive, and then slowly the archive that you're writing would actually catch up with the minutes that we've been doing now, because there is 5 years worth, I think there might be 6 years worth of minutes already there as such, but they need to change from being concurrent to archive, don't they? Is there a way of dealing with it in that respect is the question I'm asking.
Yes.
Well, can that be part of this, that's done then to save us revisiting it is what I'm going to say. Can that be added on?
At the moment, they're in no order. So all you need to do, or someone needs to do, is simply put them into the archive area with the date attached to them.
Right, okay. So that doesn't affect your motion, that's what I'm asking.
That's correct.
Right. So you have a motion that you want the quote from Graphica that we have in front of us to be accepted and get on and do the job, which is what we said last time, yes?
Yeah.
I'll second
Have
that.
we got a second of being Jason?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
in
I'm
favour?
happy with that.
Right, so that's to get on with, yeah?
Yes, that's fine, yeah.
Right, and the piece I just asked about, we'll have a look at how we can deal with that. Yeah. Right, number 15. Back to Councillor Gourlay again.
Yes, so on the website, if people look under the complaints procedure of the parish council, there is no complaints procedure. It's simply a complaints form. And it must be one of the most frustrating things possible for someone to have what they consider a genuine complaint about the parish council, to fill in the complaints form, and then, as I've seen twice during my years as a parish councillor, the parish council has no procedure to deal with these complaints and simply ignores them. So, I mean, the most recent example that I can think of is Tim Boothman, who made a complaint about the parish council illegally evicting him from his allotment, and literally the parish council ignored the complaint form. So this complaints procedure will stop a lot of problems before they arise. I know our current legal problems I believe, are solely down to over many years, the neighbours of the Memorial Park feeling that they have not been listened to. And I can well believe that that is true. We've got the whole issue of the laser allotments, I think was about councillors not wanting to discuss something in public. If we look at some of our prickly past, the illegal meeting and falsification of minutes ended up in a complaint coming into the parish council, which the complaint was just totally ignored. If we have a complaints procedure, we can at least have a process that we go through. And even if it ends up with the same decision being made, at least we will have looked at these complaints. That's my point with this complaints procedure.
Right. Anybody wish to speak on? Right, Chris has got his hand up. We'll start with Chris.
Generally, I agree with Nigel. It would be good to have a complaints procedure. But the only caveat I would put is that it's slightly confused. When they go on the website or wherever, it has to be made clear that there are different sorts of complaints, some that we can deal with, some that we can't. So it'll just say you'll click a link, complain about councillor, and then they'll go into a page that says you have to, here is a link to the complaints procedure to High Peak Council, you have to do it through them. And then you could have sort of say complain about Parish Council as a body, and then you go into this, and then complain against an employee or something like that. But it just needs the categories so that people aren't filling them in for stuff we can't deal with. That's all. That's just my comment.
Chris, would it be? What I don't want to do is spend a lot of money on something that only gets used once or twice a year. So I would be wary about going out and getting quotes for website alterations. But what might pacify you on this is that if I go away and rewrite this complaints procedure so that at the very beginning of it says if it's a financial irregularity, talk to the council's auditor. If it's a criminal activity, talk to the police. Yeah.
So and then they get to the ones that we can do something about. Yeah. So if you know what I mean.
So
could I just come in there?
Shall I just I'll withdraw this motion and I'll bring it back in April with a better version of this.
That was, well, thank you for coming down on it that way, Nigel. I was going to ask, would you like to, like we did last time, would you like to withdraw it, and can we actually have a conversation between us all? Because what I was going to say is the original one that you're saying that's there, which I was just looking for, which I've just found, which is how to comment, complain or compliment. Well, that was when we actually spent a lot of money doing up the town hall, and we were wanting compliments as well for how the town hall was run and the caretaking staff and everything. So I think, that was more in the time of when you used to have suggestion schemes as such. So I probably do think it needs updating as such, but I think Chris is very good with it in the respect of, I don't think people realise we want them to be able to tell the council if it's a compliment or a complaint about the town hall or the park or the council. But when it comes to, like you've just said, monetary things or things that would need to go to the police or the monitoring officer or something like that, there are different categories, and I think it would be wise to actually disseminate that. So if you'd like to take it away and come back with something which is apropos of that, willingly, everybody I think will willingly speak to you and have their input with it, because obviously that one for the comments actually has the pictures of the town hall interior and everything on, and that was for compliments. So is that all right with everybody if Nigel's happy to do that and come back with that in a better frame? Yeah, are you all right, Sue, with that? We can pass some bits on to Nigel for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Well, that's another one to do on the to-dos. Right, number 16 then. Back to you again, Nigel. This is another one of yours.
I think if the council met twice a year in Dove Holes, we'd end up spending more money in Dove Holes. I think the people of Dove Holes are poorly served and have been for years by this council. And so one way that we can get around that is by each year meeting twice there and all the councillors seeing what the problems are and coming face to face with Dove Holes residents.
Well, I'm going to personally say I'm not in favour of this as such, because the cost that would go with it in the respect of whether they'd actually give somewhere for free, We've got to transport everybody up there. It's a bit like Mountain and Mohammed and all the rest of it. We have a town hall. We have the meetings here. We've had these similar arguments at Dovehole, at the Borough Council, about moving our meetings all round the borough, and we don't do. We have the planning ones as it happens at Chapel Town Hall, and we have the main meetings up at Buxton. And unfortunately, the people from Glossop have to come over to Buxton. So I can see logistical problems with this, not just to do with the weather. And if we stay with Zoom meetings, there won't actually be any need for it as such. So I'm not particularly in favour of it, but I've got several reasons and reservations why. But it's up to the rest of the council. And I think when you were doing a diary, you'd have to stipulate when and that for other people, because I know with the planning ones, that's why we kept with the parish, with the town hall at Chapel for the planning for the borough. People like to know where they're coming, and like we always out on the first Tuesday of the month. So I've got two hands up. I'll start with Jason, and then I'll come to you, Stella.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe we could have a happy medium here. I've listened to what you said about the Borough Council, Stu, taking it on board. Listen to what Nigel said, took that on board. You know, why don't we try it for a year and see what happens?
Right, Stella, and then I'll come to Chris because he's put his hand up now.
That's exactly, I was going to say the same. The borough is completely different anyway, because you've got you've got a lot of more areas. We you know, I mean, there is places in Dove we could, and Dove does seem to be left out a lot. I just feel, give it a year, try a couple of meetings. If it doesn't work, then we go back to just having them at the town hall. But you've got to at least try to let them know that we're listening.
Chris?
There's something scary going on here, because Jason and Stella have just said exactly what I wanted to say. Also, I have suggested we hold it in the over 60s club, which is where the prisoner wars were held. That's a bit of history, but yes, I'm all for it as a trial for a year.
Right, well, we've all had our say on that one. Can I just say though, if we were going to trial it and everything, can we just at least please wait, Nigel, and can you work with Sue to whatever the government guidelines are to whether we could actually hold it somewhere, and actually be able with Sue to find somewhere that it could be held in Doveholes, so that you could actually put it in the new calendar, because obviously the new calendar for next year will come out once we've had the elections in May, because we'll have new councillors.
Yeah.
I mean, does Sue think that this is feasible?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think that when we have the annual meeting in May, it would probably be useful just to choose 2 months that you wanted to do it, and then we can actually find somewhere and book it and see if we can get it on a Tuesday night. But I mean, I'm sat at home doing this tonight, so it's not much different, is it really?
Right, well, we've got an action for that because 4 of you, have said you'd like to try it, and I'll go along with you trying it. But yes, we will revisit it. So we'll look to sort it from the AGM in May for the 12-month period from May to May, and deal with that one. Right, so then we move on then to number 17, and it would be yourself again, Nigel.
I think many parents would be surprised that the park keepers are not background checked. They don't have DBS checks. I think this has been brought up before, and it got snagged down in the internet, the e-sign warfare that was going on at the time. But I think generally, if you apply for a job now, 9 out of 10 times you'll be asked for a DBS check. Yeah. Certainly, if you're working anywhere near a child, you'll be DBS checked. And I think routinely we should be background checking any new employee, and we should offer a free DBS check to all existing employees and to councillors. I understand, you know, it would be terribly difficult to impose this without changing contracts on existing staff. But I think if they see councillors taking up these DBS checks, and I doubt whether it would be a thing that anyone would turn down. So I think for the peace of mind of people who we interact with, it would just be lovely to say all our staff are DBS checked. So I say, any new employee, let's insist on it, and any existing employee and councillors, let's encourage it and give it for free.
Stella, you've got your hand up, and I know you've spoken on this one in the past.
Yeah, it is one of my pet hates that we've not the park keepers, and it's nothing against park keepers, but employers who were around children, whether it be within a few feet or a few yards of them, that aren't DBS checked. Every job I've ever been in, I've had to be DBS checked. And even now, if you go in certain office jobs, you've got to be DBS checked. So I just think it's the norm now for people, and I think we should offer it. Well, we should put it in the new employees' contracts. And it wouldn't bother me having a different DBS check for being a councillor either, because I know it goes with each job, doesn't it? Because some go further in than others into your history.
Yeah, well, just adding to that one, Stella, because obviously being on the borough and being on licensing, as other people here will know, there are DBS checks for landlords and landladies. There's DBS checks for taxi drivers, and that there are the advanced DBS checks, and also now there's a rolling DBS that they're using for the taxi drivers that gets you pay for 3 years, but it gets redone every year so that you keep updated with it. So there are more modern ones now than there used to be as well. But yes, you do need them for every employment that you have. I've got two other lots of hands up. I'll start with Chris, and then I'll come to you, Jason. Chris?
I think Jason beat me by a few seconds. But
Chris, carry on.
But I'm going to be very quick. Yeah, I 100% support the motion exactly as worded. I think it's worded just right.
Jason?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I completely support the motion. I'd go as far as saying I wouldn't want the council to pay for any DBS checks on my behalf. I'd actually pay the bill myself. And coming from a generation where I've grown up with people affected by things, that there seems to be an opinion that I or the five of us would be against these things happening. That is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. I would pay for the 5 DBS checks myself.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I think from my point of view, just to say, the motion actually doesn't say anything about councillors. And I know as far as it goes, councillors don't actually have to have a DBS check. I think we need to start with, like Nigel has written here, for conditions of their employment for new staff, and offer the staff we've got and see where we get to that. Because I wouldn't particularly like to put it forward possibly for the new councillors that we've got in. We all 5 of us might be happy with it, but I don't know where we'll go when it comes to May. I don't know if there's any legalities with it, whether or not we'd have to ask Sue, and whether we'd have to find out through DALC such on that one, just to see if there is any legalities as it goes for the 4 councillors. But I'd be interested in finding out, I must admit. We've got Chris's hand up and then Nigel's. Go on, Sue first.
All I was going to say is, when it was discussed before, we did actually get some advice from the DALC HR consultant, which I could reshare with you if you'd like.
I think that would be helpful, please, from the councillor's point of view, and this, because I don't see that it's a bad thing to do.
No.
No, Chris, you first.
I'm happy to propose amendment to the actual written proposal to include councillors on a voluntary basis. Would you want to accept that?
I would accept that.
So to rearrange the motion, you're saying the council will DBS check every new employee as a condition of their employment, and all other, I presume you meant to say staff there, DBS check to all existing employees. Oh yes, I see. An offer DBS check to existing employees, and you're going to say to and councillors. Well, I think what I say, I don't think there's a problem with this as a motion, and I think Sue's going to share that with us, and it's just a job to work to, because we'll have to come up with something that we get, because Sue's the line manager, too. We'll have to ask the staff, won't we, Sue?
So has that gone through on the nod, Stuart?
No, I'm just going to say, because I'm just saying, we've made an amendment to your motion. So do you wish me to take the vote on the amendment, or the first, and then a vote on this motion? Or which way do you want? How are you? Are you happy with the amendment, Nigel?
I accept the amendment.
So we need to take a vote on the amendment, which is adding in voluntary for councillors.
No,
Yes?
I've accepted it.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
happy
mean
with
the other three people would have to.
I'm happy
vote
with
for
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 5-0 on that with the amendment. So we don't even vote on the one that's there. We've voted on the amendment.
Right.
Your hand's still up, Nigel. Have you anything else?
Yeah. So it's gone through, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Checking
you.
all future employees and offering it free to current employees and councillors.
Yes.
And I can't see any councillor complaining or not wanting it. But
Right. With that one, where are we now? Let's have a look. Oh yeah, they came in the email thing. Schedule of accounts for payment. I've printed them off somewhere. I can't see where they are. Is there, or what I'll say is there any questions to do with the accounts, or are we happy? Have we got a proposer that we can pay these accounts?
Sorry,
Go on,
can
Sue.
I just say something? I think it's the first one on the schedule, which is for the new mower. So when the two of you signed the checks, we've put it in for you to approve tonight, because we're going to have to pay for it on delivery, but we haven't actually got an invoice yet. So can you make sure that you don't sign anything until we've got the proper invoice?
Well, seeing as that's myself and Chris for signing, I don't think there's a problem there, is there, Chris?
No, if you fine.
No, because from what Sue's saying is the new mower is cash on delivery, so we need the check there to be able to pay them when they deliver it. And we haven't got, as it was all done this morning, there's no delivery date yet, but we won't be paying them in a month's time. We need it there now to pay them, because they might deliver it beginning of next week or whatever.
Yeah, I think we've. Yeah, that's fine with me. Maybe it's fine with everybody else.
I think the
Stella,
point
did
was,
you have your hand up? Sorry, Sue.
the point was we just didn't want to wait another month, really. So once we get the proper invoice that will go with it, then obviously we can get you to sign it.
Just to say, I did drop some paperwork off to say that I can sign checks as well, so I'm waiting for that to come through.
Okay.
Oh, that'll make life easier as well.
Well, that's what, yeah, if anyone's off, yeah.
That's brilliant, that. So is everybody happy with the schedule accounts for paying?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they'll move then, Sue, by myself. There's nobody, any other questions, so that's okay. Now then, we have got some correspondence. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to go quickly through it, but what I was going to say, reminding people from what we've said earlier, we have had some letters asking certain things, and I think the main part of this is that we will reply to the people with the correct answers as such. If Sue just wants to go through them and say if there's anything else we need to add to them.
Sorry, the correspondence that's on the agenda.
Yes.
Right. Okay, I think the first two, obviously the first one I can respond to, the second one's for information, but Stuart, you said that you wanted us to talk about this section 106 money for Long Lane, which is being proposed to be spent.
Yes, yeah, right. And yes, I needed to bring it to the attention tonight. Yeah, so the first two, obviously, we've said we'll reply to. That's okay, because that's what we'd said to the gentleman earlier and everything. Now then, the third one, that we've had an email from Councillor Perkins about 106 money for the Long Lane, for the highways. Now, people have put things on Facebook, and there are things elsewhere about what people on Long Lane would like to see. But what I would like to say is, and I would like us probably in with this next one, because this will be the last time we'll be basically able to do a press release or do something, because we're going up to the election and PERDA. We're not allowed to do press releases during the PERDA period. The 106 money that's for the Long Lane site, there is a consultation out with DCC Highways at the moment to try and stop Long Lane being a rat run, or where they want to spend the 106 money. Now, I know it might improve things for some people, but it'll also make things worse for other people, because they are suggesting that they alter the traffic lights at Dove Holes and make it that you can't get in and out at the other end of Dove Holes. Now, I spent probably 10 or 11 years ago with the county councillor at the time getting those lights in Dove. We had to use the death of 2 people to be able to get them. We also have, they are set in a certain way that people can count how they're coming out, and they all switch off at a certain time for a second or two to allow people to cross the road in all directions. And the people in Dove are happy with them nowadays. I wouldn't actually want to upset the apple carts in Dove with the traffic lights. They were talking about making it one way in only by the bottom, by the what was the wheat sheaf, and taking you out to Station Road where they've been digging at the moment. And of course, people wouldn't let you out into the queue of traffic. I don't think the idea warrants the merit it does as such. And also, the people who are living on Long Lane will want the 106 money spent at this end, because I know there's the footpath that they want through it, and some calming measures and other things done on the sites that are here. So I think the Dove people and the Chapel people would certainly have different views. And what I really wanted to do was bring it to the attention that there is a consultation, and I'd like people to actually, who live there, be able to speak, that we're not speaking on their behalf to that degree. If they want us to put something in, fair enough. But I just wanted to give a bit of history and background to that, and I'd like us to probably put something out to the press or whatever, that you know, they can say something. And I'm going to say we've got 2 hands up now with that while I've been speaking, so I'll start with Jason, and then I'll come to you, Nigel. Jason, demute yourself. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Chair. I think what I would like to say is that you know, I'm slightly puzzled as to why it's taken this long for a consultation to be held, given that Sue, on my behalf, sent several emails into I think it was Isabel Mulligan in around about April 2019. They've had this money the best part of almost 3 years. And at the time, they came back to us and suggested that that the money was for speed humps or potentially narrowing the road. I can't remember exactly, because it was some time ago. But I can't see how any alterations at Dove Holes is going to make the lives of people living on Long Lane and improve the safety of the children going to the school.
I fully agree with you. That's why I wanted to make this point on this one, and I think we should be proactive of letting people know about it, and so they can, and we can also say something. Nigel, you've got your hand up. I said I'd come to you.
Yeah. So I've made my views known to Derbyshire County Council, their response is that they're not going to listen to the public. The highways officer has made it quite clear that he is going to take Jim Perkins' views on this and run with them. Now, Jim Perkins has got 8 weeks left in the job. Why he should be making any kind of decision at this point, which is going to be incredibly controversial if it takes Section 106 money from Rose Bay and spends it in a different village. Now, there are options that have been discussed for widening that terrible corner at the end of Long Lane, and also for putting a safe crossing in across Long Lane. Now, I know that you and Kath Seisland went on a walk and a discussion with Isabel Mulligan, and it seems that advice has disappeared. It is no longer in the collective memory of Derbyshire County Council, and they are taking money from Section 106 in Rose Bay, and they're just spending it wherever they think that they would like a road project. It's just not on. I don't think this is something that we should be starting a public consultation about. I think we should just be writing to Highways Hub at DCC and telling them to stop it.
Right. Well, I fully agree with what you've said there, Nigel. As a parish council, we should do that. What I'm saying is we're not starting the consultation. They've already started the consultation. So I'd like the people who live on Long Lane and the people who are on Rose Bay to know about this, to be able to write to that hub and complain as well, so that there's more voice to it from the people of Chapel, besides just the parish council. Is there any other thoughts from, I'm watching for hands at the moment.
No, I just think,
Stella?
I'm just saying, I don't think what the council, the DCC are doing is right. I think it should go and the public should have a say up to a point where the money goes.
Yeah, well, so with us receiving this email, are you all happy that Sue writes back to DCC, to the hub, as it will be, that we don't want the money spending in Devols, we want it spending in Chapel?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Preferably on Long Lane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on the entrance, on the entrance to the village on Long Lane, where you come over the bridge to the new estate there. Do you think we can manage to write something in that respect, Sue, to them to reply?
Yes, I can do. Yeah.
Chris, you've got your hand up.
Can I add two quick things? First, we don't make it too personal between us and Defoe's. We just basically need to emphasise that is where the money needs spending. But please, I've also put my marker down on having some of the money going up to spend to extend the footpath up to meet the station footpath. So don't forget that as well. But it is the road safety on Long Lane is the first thing.
Jason, you've got your hand up as well.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I only wanted to just extend a little bit on what you'd said there. I appreciate that there are concerns on the corner and that we need a zebra crossing, but I think the whole of Long Lane needs looking at now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it's made, well, because I say Nigel lives there and I was born there, and that I think you're probably right that Long Lane as a whole, with the extra houses and the school, it needs looking at. So we're happy to write into the DCC on that respect. Yeah. Right. Okay, Sue, on that one. So there's no other correspondence tonight, apart from it was mentioned we'd had another letter come in, which we will deal with, and it will possibly come up next month because it didn't come in till right at last minute and it was too late for the agenda. and we will deal with it, answer the questions, and then that can come back next month if need be. It's what I would class as deferred. Press releases, do you think then there's anything to put out in the press from tonight? Is there anything we need to do? Any hands up or anything from anybody? Nigel?
Can I just say that Ben McVeigh is no longer working at the Buxton Advertiser, so I think it's very unlikely that in the run-up to the elections that Chapel Parish Council is going to get anything into the paper.
Right. Well, we have to try if there is anything there. Jason?
Can we get details out to the people of Chapel about this consultation? Can we get the details put up on our website?
I would think that's possible, wouldn't you, Sue? Because we've had a proper email from Councillor Perkins about it, haven't we? With details.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, Jason.
Thank you.
Right, and with that, we come to number 21, which obviously is to resolve that they exclude the press and members of the public under the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, because we've already mentioned that we have the Mugger meeting next Tuesday, so that's done. But we do just have one staff assessment that we need to speak about. So if we could move into what I used to call part 2.
Stuart,
I'm not allowed to
before we
call it
do,
now. Yes, Nigel?
At the amenities meeting, when we're discussing the amount of money that is possibly going to be spent on legal fees, can we please not do it in secret?
Well, as long as actual figures aren't given which would break any rules, I don't see why not. But I don't want us to upset the apple cart with the solicitors or barristers or whatever, you know what I mean? We'll have to see what we can say in the figures.
It just every time that we go into secret session, it looks dodgy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stella's got to stand up, and then I'm going to come back to Joanna, because Joanna's asked if she could just speak.
Yeah, I do. Oh, so I do agree with Nigel, because obviously on the social media we get a lot of comments about secret meetings and why can't it be discussed, and the reason, I mean, it needs to be explained. The reason it can't be discussed is because people's names are mentioned and amounts of money are mentioned, and legally we're not allowed to say it, but we get so much bad press about this going into part 2, so I just think it'd be easier if we can discuss some of it out of it.
Right. Well, that's why I've just said we've got the meeting for that, and this staff one, we have to go into this with staff at the moment. Joanna, it was nice to see you here as our Borough Councillor for the Hope Valley, and obviously you're standing down the Hope Valley. What you wish to say something?
No, all I wanted to say was thank you very much, and it was very interesting. So thanks, Stuart. Thanks, councillors. Bye.
Thank you for attending, Joanne. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Right. Well, with that, we will move into
Has somebody seconded your motion to move into
the result? Yeah. Number. Has anybody? Well, we'll still call it part 2 because I can't say anything quicker at this moment in time. I've proposed we move into part 2 to talk about just the one thing about staff.
I
have I got a
it.
seconder for that?
Yeah, I'll second
Stella
that.
seconded it, so yeah. So we can just move into the part 2 just to speak about the staff.
Okay, I shall remove people from the meeting, or they might start removing themselves. Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll just give you a minute to go through that. Where are we? Let me get my right piece of paper now. Oh. There you go, Stella. Almost 2 hours.
Still
not done
too
bad
long.
there with all that.
Still
Sorry?
too long. Should be at least an hour and a half. Should just have 2 minutes speaking, no longer at the most.
It took us an hour to get to point 12, and then all the decisions that we took half an hour.
Yeah.
And that was mostly you speaking, Stuart.
Probably. Nothing
There's no
unusual
probably
there,
about it.
but it's what has to be done.